session on management control system having a code of MMPF 003. In the last session, we had started our block 1, which comprises of various concepts and contexts of management control. There, in Unit 1, we saw the introduction to management control system. In this particular session today, we shall see what are the strategies that are available in front of us, that means the organization or the managers, in order to adopt the MCS, the management control system, and implement it successfully to achieve the objectives of the organization. So when I say strategies, that means what are the ways that are available to the organization or the managers. Now let us see, as we move on in this particular session, the various types of strategies that are available and how it is helpful in achieving the objectives of the organization. Now, whenever we enter into the premises of any of the business houses or an organization, there first we are made acquainted with a certain display board which will be containing the goals, or in other words, also the objectives and mission of the organization. Now, what they try to convey us when we say goals, it is the broad statements of what the organization wants to achieve in the long run permanently. In other words, we can say that the goals of any organization for the long run is always what the company wants to do, in which sphere of business he wants or it wants to continue successfully its venture. Now, when we look at objectives, now it is the specific statement of ends within a specified time. Now, when we say goal, for example, I say to become the world leader in aluminum manufacturing. So here we are not specifying the statement with certain kind of, that means the time or the statement of ends, that means how much should be our production, at what time we should reach the production. But when we are talking of objectives, then we are talking of what the company wants to achieve in a given time frame. Nowadays we have seen that the Indian government, Indian economy has become the 5th largest economy in the world. Now the present government is trying to specify the objective of economic development in terms of that within the next 20 years, India should be in at least the 3rd place in terms of global economy. That means here we are talking of specific time frame and the specific statement, what we want to achieve. Then finally, we talk of mission. That means, what is the way that we try to move on? When we say the way to move on, that means the direction the business house or the organization should move in order to achieve its goals as well as objectives. Now, one of the important goals of a business organization, here we can say the measures or the measurement in terms of return on investment, ROI. It is one of the basic measures for which an organization is investing its funds. Now, the name itself, return on investment, that means it is the ratio of return to the invested funds. When we say return, it is the expression of profits. That means profit can be found by comparing the revenues and expenses. Revenues minus expenses will give us the return, and when we divide the return by the investment, we get the ROI in decimal terms. If we multiply that by 100, we'll get it in percentage terms. Now, if we look at the thing, we have taken an example. Let an organization with a revenue of rupees 2 lakh and expenses of 1,20,000 rupees has an investment of 3,20,000. There we try to calculate what is the return on the investment of the organization. As we have seen, ROI is the ratio of the return to the investment. Now, in order to get the return, we compare the revenues with the expenses. Here we find revenues are 2 lakh, whereas expenses are 1,20,000. So the difference between the two, that is revenue minus expenses, gives us a figure of 80,000. Now that return 80,000 divided by investment of 3,20,000. If I want to specify it in terms of the percentage, what I have to do? Now 80,000 divided by 3,20,000 into 100. That is 1/4 into 100. So it finally results in a percentage ROI of 25%. Now, every organization wants that it should try to improve upon its ROI, that is the return on investment. How that can be done? Now, if an organization maximizes its return because funds already have been invested. Now, how we can maximize return? Now, either we try to increase the revenue, or in other words, we decrease the costs or the expenses. So, this will lead us to a higher ROI for the organization. Now, what is the way to adapt so that we can achieve our objective or the purpose of the organization? That is, in other words, we say the concept of strategy. We try to say it is the way in which the firm reacts to its environment, deploys its principal resources, and maximizes efforts towards its purpose. We have seen or known that every organization has a objective and it tries wholeheartedly to achieve this objective. We know that the business environment or the economic environment or the world environment is changing from time to time. Now, we have to keep ourselves adaptable to the changing environment with an eye that the new way of doing the work should always be towards achieving our organization's purpose. Thereby, we shall deploy our principal resources. Resources can be man, machine, materials, or information you can say also. So the principal resources we try to deploy it and it should be directed towards the purpose. And in order to achieve the objective or the purpose, we make maximum efforts. Now here, senior executives use the strategic process to evaluate the company's strengths and weaknesses in light of opportunities and threats present in the environment. Yes, every company has certain kind of strengths. Strengths might come from its human resource capability. Strength can be from the technology that it is using. Strengths can be the organization's experience. Now, similarly, weaknesses, maybe the marketing part may be a weakness for an organization. Maybe the availability of raw material for the organization may be a weak point. So when we are talking of companies' strengths and weaknesses, we are talking of internal factors. Now, when we look at external factors, we find opportunities and threats. Opportunities may come in form of higher demand, expanding market, lower substitutes for or lower substitute costs of raw material, etc. Threats may come from government regulations. It may also come from the competitors. It may also come from some unforeseen events that may happen, like the COVID that all of us went through. Now, the strategies are formulated to fit companies' competencies with environmental opportunities. That means we try to make the best use of the strengths that we have, and we try to fit that with the opportunities that are available in the business environment. For that, we use a particular tool called as SWOT analysis. S for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunities, T for threats. SW, that means strength and weakness, come from internal factors of the company. Opportunity and threats arise out of external factors present in the business environment. Now, what is the concept of this SWOT analysis that is used as a strategy? The strategies may be used by the organization or the manager who are formulating particularly the strategy to achieve the objective. As we have said, the internal factor or internal analysis, we have strength, we have weaknesses. When we look at the external factors or the business environment or the environmental analysis, we find opportunities and threats. Now, this has been divided into a matrix whereby we have combined all the internal factors with all the external factors. That means the environmental factors. Now, if we look at response 1 on the screen, that means the strength as well as opportunities box in the particular matrix. That means the company strength along with the opportunities that are available in the environment, business environment, we can utilize that to become aggressive in the market. Aggressive in the sense we can take rapid strides in the market. If we look at strengths combined with threats that are available in the business environment, that means the product or the item that we are producing and selling it in the market, the company has the strength, but there are threats in the form of competitors or competition in the marketplace. We try to diversify. That is the response 2. Diversification means we try to have different kind of product lines so that if one product line fails, it may be another product line which will help the company to tide over the threats. Similarly, when we combine weaknesses of the company with the opportunities available in the business environment, that is response 3 in the grid you can see, the company wants to make a turnaround. Turnaround means it will try to assess what are the defects, what are the drawbacks, what can be done in order to improve the product. The product may be goods or services. So, through research and development, it can turn around its business and move towards its objective. Now, when we try to look at the 4th grade, that means combining the weakness of the organization along with the environmental threats, if both of them become prevalent, then response 4, that is, we have to safeguard ourselves. We may be wiped out. That means we try to defend our territory. Now, in that case, what are the strategies that an organization or a business manager undertakes? If we look at response one, that means strengths as well as opportunities from environment, business environment are there for our products, then we try to skim the market. That means we try to generate as much returns as possible from the market because we have the strength as well as the opportunity. Now, if you look at response to the grid, the strengths but threats are there from the business environment, then we should try to maintain our position in the market. The strategy should be maintain yourself in the market. How? Now, if you look at the response, it is diversification. That means move into other products. If one of your products fail, other products may or will provide you the returns. Looking at the third one, that means when you combine, the company has weaknesses, but opportunities are there in the market. So here, the company should look into its own self, into the way they are working, the way they are producing the product, the quality of the product they are producing. So there they have to make some R&D, that means research and development, so that they can improve upon the weaknesses and try to get benefit out of the opportunities. Now, when we look at the fourth grid, that is response for the defend territory, or we said try to have your territory. There the strategy is you have weaknesses and there are threats in the business environment. That means suppose competitors are there, your suppliers are not providing you raw materials, customers are not accepting your products, then you should have a visualization that the time has come that you should quit from the market. So, the various strategies in general, according to whether it is strengths, weaknesses, that means the internal factors, along with opportunities and threats, that means the external factors or the business environment around us, we have four kind of strategies, that is either skim the market, maintain yourself in the market, improve your product or working style, or leave the market. So, organizations and managers do this SWOT analysis so that they can know what kind of strategy should be adopted in order to fit company. Now, how shall we plan for the strategy? Now, when we are talking of planning the strategy, it is the management task that is involved with a firm's growth and future. All of us know that plans are made for the future periods of time. We plan today and we try to implement it in the future time periods. So, The plans are always directed towards the growth or towards achieving the objective of the organization. So we say strategy planning is the management task that is involved with a firm's growth and future. It is a chain of choices and movements that bring about powerful techniques. When we make plans for the future time periods, we try to set the course or the direction in which we should work so that we can achieve the objectives of the organization in the future. Now, this brings about powerful techniques. We shall see in the forthcoming slides what we can do in strategy planning, the powerful techniques. So, it is techniques and principles used in dynamic surroundings to provide the strategic control. Now, the plans always try to guide us by providing the techniques or laying down the way to do the work, that means the principles in the dynamic surroundings. That means the changing business environment. So that always we are in control of our activities and they are directed towards achieving the objective of the organization. Now, we are moving into looking at some of the tools or techniques that we shall be using. When we are looking at the strategy plans making system, that means in which positions we are in, we use two kind of techniques. One is the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. The PEST, political, economic, socio-cultural and technological analysis. Now, this will tell us where we are and what kind of activities we can undertake for the future so that we can move in the right direction. Now look at again the matrix that we have formed for this kind of analysis. Now we have two kind of factors which affect the way or the direction the tasks are undertaken by the organization to achieve the organizational objectives. One is internal factors, other is external factors. Now we try to compare that with whether the factors are helpful or harmful for the organization. Now when we look at the combinations or we try to position ourselves in this particular arrangement or matching of the factors with how they are affecting the organizational direction towards objectives. The first grade we see is the internal factors. If they are helpful, then it is strength of the company. Now, what can we see in general in the strengths of a company which are helpful? One we can say is experienced employees or well-trained employees. Another one we can say is latest technology that is being used in the production facilities. Another we can say is the company's adaptability to changing situations. That means the company is ready to adapt to any kind of changing scenarios. These are some of the strengths that we are saying, which are internal to the organization and it is helpful. So this forms the strength of the company. This is the pillar on which the company can tide over the fiercely competitive world of today. It is the strength that leads the company forward. Now, internal factors which are harmful to the company. When we try to position there, we find it is a weakness. For example, internal factors that are harmful to the company are maybe inexperienced marketing personnel. That means they are new to the business world and do not have better ideas regarding improving the sales or generation of revenue. One thing we can take. Second is we can take lack of funds to invest in new technologies. Now these are harmful for the organization or achieving the objectives. So any internal factor which are becoming harmful are the weaknesses of the company. Always we should try to go or wipe out the weaknesses and try to convert them into strengths. Now look at the other one, the external factors. The external factors which are helpful to the organization. When it is helpful, we call it as opportunities. Suppose due to a new government plan, the products that our company is producing is needed to a greater extent. Now, here we can think that, or it may give a message to us that whatever we produce can be observed in the market or in the government plan. So this forms an opportunity for the organization. Now, external factors which are harmful provide a threat to the company. How it is done? Now, nowadays we see the Pollution Act is becoming stringent day by day. if you are not adhering to the pollution standards, then there is a threat of your organization being shut down forcefully by the authority. So we try to position ourselves, we try to look where we are, whether we are in a strength position or weak position, or our position is full of opportunities, or we are facing threats. So accordingly, we have to make plans, and the plans should always be directed towards achieving the objectives. Now here, as we are saying, while making the plans, we should always prioritize objectives. That means our main focus should always be on the objectives. The plans should be made in such a way that yes, whatever position we are, we should prioritize the objectives. So here we determine first the targets to achieve goals of the organization. We fix the targets, we specify the times. In what time we are going to achieve the targets, and what is the target that is to be achieved. Now, second is we have to identify initiatives that have greatest influence on the targets. Now, when we are moving towards achieving the goals, that means we have set our targets which will lead us to achieve the goals. We have to find out what initiatives will influence to get to the targets. When we say initiatives, initiatives can be monetary, it can be motivational, or it can be through any kind of training programs, etc., that will help the employees to carry out the tasks in a better way and achieve the targets. Then third is the style of impact. The styles of impact, when we are saying how the plans we are making, what kind of impact it will have on the achievement of targets. Then we look at what are the various tasks that we need to undertake so that we can achieve our objectives. So we shall try to curtail all those tasks which are not directed towards our objectives. However, tasks which are needed or are directed towards objectives should be given maximum importance. Then we say, anticipate competitors' reaction. So when you are going to achieve your objectives, you determine targets and accordingly change your styles, you provide initiatives which may bring some kind of reaction in your competitors, because they always try to keep pace or go ahead of you. So we have to anticipate what they are going to do in anticipation of our way or our plans that we are going to implement. Then, while making plans, we should have a measurement of progress. That means various tools and techniques that will help us to measure the progress of the tasks so that we can be assured that we are moving towards our objective in right time and in proper manner. Now, here in measurement of progress, we have some indicators or main indicators called as key performance indicators, KPI, key performance indicators. So there we try to compare what was the planned targets, what are the achieved targets at any given point of time, what is the deviation and what is its impact on the direction or achievement of objective, which will lead us to make or do corrective actions. Now, when we are making the strategic plans, we have three things. First is designing, second is execution, the third is the review. As we have seen in every kind of control or control system, three things are done: the basic planning or the design, then we make the actual work, and we make periodic reviews, or we try to gather periodic information to check whether the actual and the planned things are going or not. So when we are talking of design, we set up various techniques and timelines for achieving the objectives. What are the techniques that we are going to undertake? In what time we are going to complete it? All things are planned or designed at the beginning. Once this task is over, then we move into the execution phase. That means the actual work starts. Now, as the actual work is progressing at periodic intervals, usually it is periodic intervals, we try to gather information regarding how much actual work has been done, how much work was planned till that periodic time period or the periodic information collection. That is, we call it as review. We try to assess both the things, the actual and the planned work. Now, this will give us is there any kind of deviations? Are we lagging behind our plan? Are we falling short in our planned work, which may lead us to extension of deadlines? If so, then what is the contingency plan we have in our hands? That means some kind of decisions will. taking. Strategies and core competencies. Now, when we are talking of strategies, we are talking of the ways we should carry out the tasks in order to achieve the objectives of the organization. Now, when we are talking of core competencies, we are talking of the basic strength of an organization. Now, every organization do not have all the, that means strength in all the fronts of business. Most companies have their strength in a particular business line or in few business divisions. For example, when we are talking of core competencies, I may say here that we have a company called as Honda. We have seen that, yes, Honda came to the Indian market. We saw the motorcycles, then we saw the cars, etc. But Honda in general, its core competency or its strength is the manufacturing of motors, the engines. Honda is one of the world leaders in manufacturing engines. So based on that core competencies, it has moved into business fields which use engines, like bikes, like cars, like lawnmowers, etc. So, how strategies and core competencies are matched? And if they are matched, they are definitely helpful for the organization. This was formulated by Prahalad and Hammer. It refers to the strengths of the firm. Just now we said the core competency of Honda is the engines. Now, Honda, based on its engine manufacturing leadership, it has prepared strategies where products using motors or the engines it is going to produce. So strategies should be based on strengths of the organization. Core competencies or the strengths of the company matched with the SWOT analysis, just now we had seen in the previous slides, provides the strategic direction. How? Now just now I was saying the core competency of Honda was manufacturing of engines. Now, based on this strength, it envisaged plans to move into diversified business areas using its core competencies. That means when core competency is matched with SWOT analysis, it provides the strategic direction to Honda that move into business spheres where the motors are used. Now, what are the strategies that are taken at various levels? When I talk about various levels of organization, we talk about the corporate levels, or as we shall see just now, the business units. Corporate levels look at the overall organization. That means if an organization has a number of businesses, corporate label is at the top, and each business division is called as business unit. Now, when we are looking at corporate level strategies, the key idea is about deployment of resources and right mix of businesses. So main thing the corporate wants is how best it can make use of its resources and what kind of product lines it is going to move into. That will be based on core competencies as well as SWOT analysis. So some of the strategies are either you remain a single industry firm, that means you produce a particular item, or diversify in related businesses. Honda, it diversified in related businesses where motors are being used. Diversify in unrelated businesses. We can take the example of Reliance Industries. It has moved into businesses like petrochemicals, like the garments, like telecom, etc., where all are unrelated businesses. Now, transferability of core competencies. That means whether or not we can transfer our core competency from one business to other in our corporate. Yes, it is possible if we are in a single firm or we are diversifying in related businesses, because the core competency will remain the same. But if it is unrelated business, then transferability is difficult. We cannot do it. Now, we'll look at one of the most important models that we apply in business unit strategies called as BCG. The name is Boston Consulting Group. It is a consultant firm for business organization, but worldwide the model is known as BCG model. Now, corporate level strategy provides the overall strategic direction. Whereas, in order to survive, fight it out in the market, generate revenue for the corporate, it is the task of the business units. So, there we have the model BCG, which combines the market share with market growth. When I am talking of market share, that means for a particular product, there may be a number of competitors. What is the amount of market we are catering to? When I am saying market growth, we are talking about at what rate the market is expanding. So, we can have high market share or low. Similarly, high market growth or low market growth. When we combine them, we also have 4 grids. High market share with high market growth. We have high market share means large chunk of the market is from our business. Market is expanding, so we are a real hero, star. So hold on to the business because we are generating maximum profit. High market share, but there is no growth in the market. Market is stagnant. It has fallen flat. So there we try to generate as much profit as possible. That means it is a cash cow for us. We try to harvest the profit out of the market. Low market share, low market growth. We don't have market share, market is a high market growth is there, but we are not having market share. Then obviously the question is how we can improve upon the market share, the question mark. So we have to improve. That means we have to undertake research and development activities in order to build upon our lacunas, and we can increase our market share. And finally, low market share with low market growth, we are like a dog. We have to watch what others are doing and will be fed by them if possible. If not possible, we may die out. So try to divest from that business. Now, another model is Porter's 5 force model. That means this 5 force act in order to form the strategies for business unit. What are they? The new entrants, suppliers, customers, substitutes, and industry competitors. Now, all the 5 pressures, they interact, and our strategy is built from the pressure that is coming from this all 5 forces. Customer, yes, they have certain kind of demands in terms of quality, in terms of feature, in terms of price, etc. Industry competitors, yes, in terms of market share, in terms of profit percentage, etc. Substitutes. Many substitute items are coming up for the products. What is the kind of challenge we are facing from these substitute products? Suppliers. At what rate we can get our supplies? Is it at the same level as compared to a competitor? Can we get our quota, full quota of supplies? Is it coming on time or not? Another force that tries to pressure us is new entrants. When we see there is opportunity in the marketplace, you will find new entrants will be coming to the market and they will be occupying some market share. Thereby, our market share may be hampered. So while forming the strategy, we have to take into account all these forces. Now, we are looking at interface of management control system with our particular the objectives. When we are talking of interface, we know that organizations can be learning organization. As we do the task more and more number of times, we become a learning organization. Learning means the more we do, the better knowledge we have on the task. We can perform it in a better way. We can reduce the wastage. Thereby, the returns will be high. When talking of radical performance improvement, we try to compete for dreams, resources, and markets. So every organization always tries to move to the top of the ladder. Top of the ladder means how it can become the best. So we dream about having the best resources or having core competencies like engines by Honda company or becoming the market leaders. Now, when we combine our MCS management control system with this particular strategic planning, we converge to our goal of the organization. So, this is the session that we discussed along with what is strategic planning. We saw the various models that will help us in tidying out the business competition with the main objective as achieving the objectives. Now, there we saw the SWOT analysis, we saw the pest analysis, we saw one of the important models, that is BCG model, that is Boston Consulting Group. Apart from that, we went on to see what are core competencies and how we can combine the management control system with the strategies so that we can achieve our targets. Thank you all.